Story 1. This quote from Helen Mirren. At 70 years old, if I could give my younger self one piece of advice, it would be to use the words F*** off much more frequently. Helen Mirren. Story 2. Realizing just how fast the years go by, I am 56, and 20 years ago seems like it was yesterday. To think, in 20 more years, which will go fast as well, I'll be 76, and that is very unsettling. Story 3. Prioritizing life over career. Stopped climbing the ladder, never graduated from the almost decade-long degree, started living, and have so much more time to do so. I guess I had to go through severe burnout first, but it would have been nicer if we could have skipped that bit, and I learned that prioritizing your life and well-being is critical way sooner. Story 4. Weightlifting and going to the gym. Other than a handful of times messing with 10-pound dumbbells and the treadmill, I didn't even start until my early 30s. I always found it intimidating compared to running or biking. The atmosphere, not knowing the workouts, being an obvious beginner, worrying about getting injured, and so on. I'm still far from a gym rat, but I'm glad it's something I started doing. It makes me feel better mentally and physically, and it's nice to have a slight positive impact on my physique and strength. Story 5. Getting multiple pairs of shoes is beneficial. Instead of having one pair that you use for pretty much everything, get different kinds of shoes. They won't wear out as quickly, and people tend to appreciate those with shoes matching their outfit. This is psychologically proven. Story 6. Giving up drinking has truly transformed my life. It is incredible how much better I feel without it. Even if you are not an alcoholic, eliminating alcohol brings immediate benefits: more energy, improved sleep, and a clearer mindset. I did not realize how much I was missing until I made the change. It is like a huge weight has been lifted. Story 7. This thread is sad and just shows that the grass is always greener on the other side. On the one hand, you have people who spent their youth partying and living it up. They look at those with careers, money saved, and kids and think how they messed up. Then there's the other side that prioritized their careers, had kids young, saved every dime, and now at 40 feel empty wondering why they didn't enjoy their youth more. The truth is, the key to a fulfilling life is moderation. You don't want to be the person who has nothing to show other than a fat bank account, an empty mansion, and a divorce at 50. You also don't want to be the person who's single, can't get a date, working at McDonald's and struggling to pay rent because they spent their youth having fun. Story 8, called Others More. At least those in good graces with them. After getting older and time passing, I realize if you don't take those chances, you will not be able to reach them again. I forgot how therapeutic it can be just talking things out with anyone. Don't let people that care about you or vice versa go. Story 9. Remembering that if they did it once, they will definitely do it again. Remembering that it is hardly ever the circumstances and almost always the person. Story 10. Advocating for my health sooner. I've had stomach issues for as long as I can remember, and I'm just now getting to the bottom of it. My family brushed it off when I was a kid, and as an adult, I took myself to the doctor and got brushed off. I went to the hospital once with bad pain and was told it was anxiety and was sent home. Eventually, enough was enough, and I started being more demanding for answers. After multiple visits to different doctors and pushing for testing and a colonoscopy, it turns out I have Crohn's disease. So now I'm able to get medicine to hopefully get into remission. I'm still having issues, so I'm undergoing further testing, but it feels good to finally be getting somewhere. Story 11. Living for myself. Making career choices that made me happy, not my parents. Wasted a lot of time in college to get a degree that made me miserable. In my 30s, I became a police officer, leaving a lucrative field to do so, and I'm so very happy. Story 12. Investing spare money when young and rehabbing bumps and accidents with proper physical therapy. Having joint problems and pain where I've torn muscles and ligaments doing sports in the past but not spent enough time and money into getting them back to as good as they could be and maintaining through the years. Story 13. Not breaking up with my ex sooner. I was essentially locked up and was only allowed to do things with him. Now I have generalized anxiety disorder and need to boost my confidence and teach myself to be independent again. Story 14. I was bullied so severely from kindergarten to 12th grade, but especially my senior year. On my 18th birthday, a popular girl said something so bad to me in a group setting in my second period physics class. I don't even remember what it was, but I literally left my books and study materials, picked up my purse, and just walked out of the class. I grabbed my keys from my locker and called my dad, asking him to call me out for the day. I just can't take this anymore, Daddy. I was struggling with my mental health, and I just wanted to drop out of school. I went home for the day and I was ready to drop out, but was scared because at the time I was going to a good college, and that would all go down the drain if I did this. Then we had a week-long snowstorm. During that time, my therapist, who did not listen to me, convinced me to stay in school and finish. The bullying got even worse the rest of the year. I ended up graduating with honors but never went to a four-year college. I didn't even finish community college because of my bad mental health, and now I'm on permanent disability for bipolar 1 disorder, borderline personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. What I regret not doing was dropping out, finishing high school through the community college, and figuring it out from there. I could have saved myself some mental pain and stress from the bullying. Story 15. Prioritizing my education in high school. I wish I had adults in my life who stressed the importance of academics. I wish I had taken advanced placement courses in high school, gone to a community college for 2 years, and then transferred to a four-year college. I was the first person in my family to go to college, but I was unaware of the overall process and am now left with $100,000 in student loan debt from taking out student loans for a four-year college. Story 16. Learning piano. I started at 27. I'm a little over a year in now, and it has brought me some of the greatest joy in my life. It's not too late to learn an instrument. I've made great strides in a year, and my progress increased exponentially once I started with a teacher. Story 17. Tell those around me that I appreciate and love them. Most significantly, my parents. I wish that I had told them earlier and more often how much I love them, and that it's okay to not be perfect. Story 18. Tinkering with stuff. I have an associate degree in web and design, but I have never used it. I thought it would make my parents proud, but by the time I graduated early, I didn't talk to either of them. I work on cars now because it makes me happy, but I wish I had parents who had supported me being a mechanic from an earlier age so I wouldn't feel so stupid or behind sometimes. I feel like I wasted a lot of time trying to make my parents happy, and in reality, I came out with a degree I've never used, both parents I have no contact with, and I wish I could have used the money I spent paying for classes on stuff like automotive service excellence certifications because I work off my income only. So now it's harder for me to do stuff like that. Story 19. Learning how to cry and show emotions. I grew up in a house where men are supposed to be strong all the time, so I pent up everything for 16 years. One day, I finally broke, and it was not worth it at all. Story 20. Leaving toxic work environments, doing as many courses at the technical and further education, saving up, leaving toxic friendships, relationships, and casual relationships as soon as possible. Working and studying instead of drinking, partying, or smoking marijuana every day. Story 21. Realizing just how short your good life is. You get 20 good years from 20 to 40. After that, your body starts to degrade and you feel your age a lot more. You lose muscle definition and bone density. You become physically weaker, slower, and more clumsy. You lose grip strength and your vision deteriorates. Things become a lot harder, and you start to experience health problems associated with older age. All the things you did when you were younger come back in the form of bad knees, backs, shoulders, etc. If you've ever wanted to do something like hike the entire Appalachian Trail or ride a motorbike around the world, all those things can be done when you're older, but they will be a lot easier and more enjoyable if you do them while you are still younger. The problem is that most of us don't or didn't have the kind of lifestyle where you can do or afford those kinds of things until you're 45 and older. In your mid to late 40s and early 50s is when you start saying things like, I don't have the time left to do that, or I don't think I could do that anymore. You start thinking things like, I wonder how many more ski seasons I have left in me. Anyways, seize the day, I guess. Story 22. Not being rebellious enough, disobeying my parents, telling them to leave me alone. Now I'm a chronic people pleaser and a goody-goody that never did anything interesting with her life, and I lost so many opportunities, big and small, because I was either denied by my folks or didn't even ask because I knew I'd get denied. My parents are old-fashioned, religious, and conservative people who expect me to settle in my small hometown, have a family, and not even work in the field I'm currently studying for. What they don't know is that I'm an atheist who doesn't want to have kids, wants to move out of the country, and finding a partner isn't too high on my priority list. If it happens, great. If not, oh well. And it almost definitely won't be anyone from my hometown. Story 23. Coming forward about sexual harassment and bullying in workplaces. I was sexually harassed the same way 3 times at 3 different workplaces. Finally, opening up to someone about it recently and dealing with it is not the easiest thing, but nobody should ever have to go through that. Finally, I am learning how to stand up for myself. Story 24. I think I might regret not exploring new interests or hobbies sooner. Embracing creativity and trying different things, whether it is art, music, or travel, can lead to personal growth and joy. For me, the real meaning of life is to grow and do what suits me. Story 25. Getting hearing aids. My hearing got progressively worse over the course of my adult life, but I put it off until I was in my mid-40s. Absolutely life-changing. It's like a mini miracle every time I put them on. If anyone you know is thinking about it, and they can afford it, do it. Story 26. Going to Japan. We went last year, and it was the best holiday of our lives. Unfortunately, my wife's arthritis is getting worse, and walking any distance is becoming difficult. And Japan isn't a place to go if you're not able to do at least several thousand steps. Honestly, I can't believe how hard I'm taking it, but I'm trying not to show it, as she's feeling bad enough. Story 27. First, basically everything. You need to strike while the iron is hot. Live in the moment. Don't put things off. If you want it, do it now if you can. Time moves fast, and if you put things off, all of a sudden you'll be a completely different person in a different part of life, and that thing may just never happen. Obviously, I don't mean expensive things you can't afford, but more like learning skills or reading that book or whatever. Second, basically nothing. No regrets. Again, live in the present. Don't torture yourself with the past. Story 28. When I was in 9th grade, I liked a girl. I wanted to express my feelings to her, but didn't do it. Many years have passed, and I still remember her. Even though I don't know what the outcome would have been, I should have told her about my feelings back then. Story 29. Losing weight. I've struggled with my weight since childhood, mainly due to many health issues. Medications caused me to gain weight. I'm now 41 years old, and I've lost 100 pounds. I was 385. Now down to 280. I feel better than I ever have. I'm eating better, sleeping better, and generally have more energy. I tried for a long time to lose weight, but could never find the right mix to make it work for me. But now things have changed, and I'm so mad at myself for not doing it sooner. I've caused so much unnecessary wear on my body by being so heavy for so long. Story 30. Cutting out my toxic sister. Quotations because we might have the same blood, but she was never a sister to me. Finally did it about 3 years ago. Wish I had done it a lot sooner. I didn't do it entirely yet because I knew it would hurt my parents, but now that my dad is dead, it seemed like the right time. Story 31. Not trying to make it big on the internet in that 2019 sweet spot. Not an influencer, mind you, but many poet accounts started popping up from 18-year-olds that gained 1.4 million views overnight with stuff that made Rupi Kaur the next Shakespeare. It would have been great for my career. Story 32. Accepting migraine pain as just a part of life got severe in my late 40s, and now I take medication that costs $10 a month and wipes out 95% of pain and duration. Story 33. I would have taken more risks socially growing up. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication could have been beneficial. Standard & Poor's 500 in early 2000s, and I regret not joining the National Guard as a young man. Story 34. I regret not listening to my body when I had a medical issue. I thought this was how I was built. One sleep study, and now I know that there was a reason for my chronic fatigue, and medication exists to help the problem. Story 35. Saving money, losing weight, doing yoga, eating healthily, cutting off toxic family, going to graduate school, increasing my self-esteem, and being kind to everyone. Story 36. Meeting the psychiatrist who correctly diagnosed my disability. The 1980s and early 1990s were a difficult time to have mental illness, and I had the bad luck of my first psychiatrist being so overconfident that he never actually listened to a word I said. Story 37. Playing out my life instead of being a naive 12-year-old. I should have thought about what I wanted in the future, and I should have worked my way up to get there. Story 38. Taking time out of my day to clean. It wasn't until I moved out on my own that I realized that yes, cleaning feels like a chore, but my stress levels are so much lower when I have a clean living space. Story 39. Getting bariatric surgery. I have been overweight my whole life and have failed numerous times to keep the weight off. I am halfway through my program, so I am halfway to getting the surgery. I am 36. I should have done this a decade ago, at least for my own health.